warrior with the hands. That's what I'm all about. Hunger in my eyes, vengeance in my mouth. They don't want no altercation. Situation gon' get critical. It's best that you be easy. The end gon' be biblical. Look, flow like a river. It's something like a miracle. Royalty in my veins, loyalty in my ways. Pay back in every breath, plus revenge in my heart. The truth in every word. Bring light into the dark, and I ain't never lukewarm. Shit, I blazing in the season. Got plenty food for thought, just gotta watch who I'm feeding. And I been walking with them angels, so I guess I got this pistol for no reason. Niggas barely breathing, criticizing all my achievements. Won't make me weak, nah, it won't make me slack off. These niggas baby fat soft, better bear witness or back off. I be ripping shit like sackcloth. Dumb dogs all barked out. My hymen say I cup full, no room for emotion, so I pour my heart out. This road hard, but I intend to stay. And if it ain't UPK, then they in the way. My niggas righteous, they real, they down to suffer. Flow so deep, it drown a motherfucker. He say he in the truth, oh yeah? Well, this the home. And I don't hate them brothers, I'm just too loyal to my own. Plus what they believe, hard for me to follow. No rank me, no head, and I ain't leaving this body to live and sleep in hollow. So when they ask I'm UPK, you tell them absolutely. And I ain't trimming my ways for nothing, gotta execute me. Cause I can never die with my tail tucked between my legs. Shit I be thinking, watching my daughters tucked in their bed. They so smart, and Alana, she so beautiful, but they ain't like other babies, and they daddy far from usual. Now I'm missing cause I'm about my father's business. It ain't about this shit I used to do in that 98 Navy, the tan leather seats. See, without wisdom, this world make you weak. I found out that the truth was bitter, the lies are sweet. Tried everything, I guess me and Johanna had to meet. Now I make the blind see, and I make the dead speak. And teach both my little girls the day that they lie with a man, they better bring me bloody bed sheets. Chaos match the time, this Glock match my handpiece. And I ain't trying to take him out, but I will defend this house. Or take a check, 144 in that black trench on some hitman shit. Shit call me 47, praying for Armageddon. Me and my soldiers dressed for the wedding. Fuck the fame, ask why, tell them I'm loyal to the king. Until the righteous reign, Lord to the king. I want that straight lane to break the chain. Lord to the king, them devils can't have me, bitch. I'm Lord to the king. That's right. Bring that hot flame, you bitch. Hey, Lord to the king. Until the righteous reign, Lord to the king. I want that straight lane to break the chain. Lord to the king.
Till they bury me. I'm one west till they bury me. I'm one west till they bury me. I be one west to the death till they bury me. One west till they bury me. I'm one west till they bury me. I'm one west till they bury me. I be one west to the death till they bury me. I be one west to the death till they bury me. They ain't scaring me. Rip the soul out of Pharisee. Speaking heresy and get you fucked up apparently. It's like they daring me. I said chill, they ain't hearing me. They ain't listening. Every bar nitroglycerin. Hit your heart, bring it back to start, make you live again. Get them dividends or we start getting ignorant. I be on that soldier shit. I told you shit phenomenal. Nah, but he a domino. So what you suckers trying to do? Rhyming comical. Guess it's funny until I'm bombing you. Bring apocalypse to them pussy niggas that's popping shit. Team of all-stars, I coach them up like I'm Popovich. Fuck the politics and the lobbyists and apologists. They vagina, so we gon' check them like gynecologists. It's kinda obvious how the situation is ominous. The way I vomit this and regurgitate for the audience. They start applauding this cause the competition is fraudulent. From the era where niggas smoke you up like a parliament. The flow been stupid, shit has gotten retarded since all the dominance of one west rising to prominent. Cause I be one west to the death till they bury me. I'm one west till they bury me. I be one west to the death till they bury me. I'm one west till they bury me. I be one west to the death till they bury me. I'm one west till they bury me. I be one west to the death till they bury me. I'm one west till they bury me. They want a nigga quiet, mute my maneuvers, but I ride like I got Groupon for Uber. Rhymes hard like they been viewed by Medusa. 9 milli Luger, 17 in the Ruger. Only need a few to sit up in your medulla. I obligata. For the regatta, niggas wildin', they win every dollar. They riding by in black Impalas, let the semi holler. A showstopper, been this proper since a teeny bopper. But now I'm growing them off Patron, a premium of vodka. I put extensions on the Glock, modified the chopper. The swore heavy, war ready, and that's working mama. No marijuana, say I got the loudest silence on it. When I'm up on it, ain't no rapper do it like I do it. A lot of spitties and writers, but when the heat's on, none of them can get to the fire. Around with me, and I had a nigga spin like a tire. But down the deep, and I'm still dope as a piper. Every bar burn hard like a spoon with a lighter. Fuel to igniter, I'm winning, coming through with the title because UP. I be one west to the death till they bury me. I'm one west till they bury me. I be one west to the death till they bury me. I'm one west till they bury me. I be one west to the death till they bury me. I'm one west till they bury me. I be one west to the death till they bury me. I'm one west till they bury me.
Back roll. Send my bro a kite quick. Ties of war, we ain't forget about you. Keep your light lit. Rappers can't see, most of them scared to witness. Go and close your eyes, cause one right here for the trenches. Bad bitches, natural hair or extensions. Hood niggas that'll probably grip like some dentures. Brothers on them fences, 23 and 1 out. Praying that that commissary hit before it run out. Bitches on the gram, dog filter with their tongue out. Couldn't stay home because they found the dugout. Closed casket, burner in the low jacket. My co-captain, riding on these whole rappers, my hoes fabulous. Now I don't mean that derogatory, but I'm a player and there's no my women riding for me. I avoided Maury, I got 2 jets. If I can't make it through for them, then I'm useless. Sit down that roof, Chris, with a couple bosses. After the war, just to count our losses. There's not many. You see a smile on my face, but I'm not friendly. Going on my waist, sipping white Henny. I just hope this shit go right. Living in the dark, you don't know light. Gotta got my heart with my bow tie. Waiting on the swab in my whole life. I just hope this shit go right. Living in the dark, you don't know light. Gotta got my heart with my bow tie. Living in the swab in my whole life. My whole life. It's so melodic. When I be dropping this ebonics, this ghetto phonics, it got me on the level supersonic. My bomb atomic, and you know where you can find me. Somewhere probably folding this paper origami. My name is pure as the Sani, my wave is like a tsunami. I went from 0 to 100, feeling like Ricky Bobby. I made a deal with the Reaper. Got a couple wives, they some keepers. Talk a lot of shit, but you can't walk a mile in my sneakers. Bitches go to Miami, come home with change features. Now she got a BBL, her ass fatter. Trying to show up all them niggas that laughed at her. Now when they see her, they only wanna fuck her. They just wanna touch her, they don't wanna cuff her. They just wanna come and kick it with her like a punter. Turned her to a runner, now it's all aboard the train. Fenty on her face, but it's not concealing the pain, it's a shame. That's why I'm in the hood like some rap snacks. I know niggas kill you and your mama for a scat pack. Dark tint, matte black, they do it for half that. Had you like 90s Missy in a fucking trash bag. I'm from Philly, we don't do bank accounts, just cash app. I spit a verse and I just watch the time slow. This that guy flow, this that shit that rappers die for. This that uncut Taha Wall straight from Pablo Escobar. I be at the bar like Moscato. They think it's effort, but no, this that block work. Make the countermeasures, take pleasures, making an op hurt. Light is in the sky, cause every verse is a concert. My mind work at speed y'all can't fathom. Listen to the
Hold on,
Yeah.
one sec. Let me just fix this.
Hold it on camera, yeah. You fucking flipping your big face on it. That one.
Bear with me 1 second. I'm just trying to adjust this camera.
Camera off.
Yeah, there we are. All right, Shalom Israel. This is the Wednesday night history class. Also, remember, check out Commanding General Yohana's radio show. We have classes here Monday through Friday. We have them live in the physical school on Monday, Wednesday, Thursday. We have them online Tuesday and Friday. Feel free to come on down, contact the school. Any questions you got, you can type them in the chat. Whether on the topic, off the topic, any questions you got, scripture, history, anything, you can type them in the chat. Also, we also have the radio show, Friday, 9 p.m. on the ends, and Sabbath service at camp on Saturday. So today we're going to go into Cain and Abel, farmers, shepherds, and the rise of civilization. So we're going to go into the rise of civilization, and we're going to go also into Cain and Abel today. Today I got Trooper Banyamian with me. So we're about to get it in. Let me get to my first slide. Lucky, go ahead, Banyamian. Banyamian, you're on mute.
Salakia, sir.
Yeah, no,
For 2.5 million years, humans fed themselves by gathering plants and hunting animals that lived and bred without their intervention. Homo erectus, Homo ergaster, and the Neanderthals plucked wild figs and hunted wild sheep without deciding where fig trees would take root. In which meadow?
So now it's talking about where. Hold on, read that part one more time.
Canada and Cancer. For 2.5 million years, humans fed themselves by gathering plants and hunting animals.
This is talking about when they was in their hunting stage. So now, before they became farmers and shepherds, they would hunt wild animals. They would do what the oppressor does today. They would do what the oppressor Living King does. They hunt wild animals and eat wild animals. That's how man was living at one time. There was called foragers. So a forager is someone that just hunts and eats whatever they find. So that's the term, what they call a forager. So back then, obviously these not go crazy with all the years, 2.5 million, this and that, they go crazy with the years. But that's what a forager was and what a forager would do. Smoky boy.
By gathering plants and hunting animals that lived and bred without their intervention. Homo erectus, Homo ergaster, and the Neanderthals plucked wild figs and hunted wild sheep without deciding.
So now this is what they would do. They would pick wild figs and hunt wild sheep. So they'll pick up anything they can get off the trees and eat. Any animal they could chase and catch, they would eat. So that's how they was living once upon a time in ancient civilization. Go ahead.
Without deciding where fig trees would take root, in which meadow a herd of sheep should graze, or which billy goat.
They didn't know nothing about where a herd of sheep would graze or whatnot, because they didn't know about being a shepherd or farming. Go ahead.
Or which billy goat would inseminate which nanny goat. Homo sapiens spread from East Africa to the Middle East, to Europe and Asia.
East Africa to the Middle East. The reason they say East Africa and all these places is because they go by where they find the oldest bones. So now they found bones. They'll tell you they found like old bones all over parts of Africa. They'll tell you that they found the oldest bones about 315,000 years ago in Morocco. So that's the dates that they'll give. But then they will also tell you that these dates are subject to change. So that's why you can't cling on to those dates or where the oldest bones are found, because they understand that in time they could find the older bones. So if they found older bones elsewhere, then they would change where they say life began, because they would go by how far the oldest bones go back. But also, there's some people who plant fake bones in places and try and make them a lot older than they are. So there'll be people that take bones of a human skull and a gorilla mouth, gorilla jaw, and they'll put those bones together, and then people look at that and be like, oh, this is a bones from 58,000 years ago of how man used to look. So that's the kind of lies and stuff that they kind of do. But that's lucky. Go ahead.
And finally to Australia and America.
So now they're talking about when life branched out. So now they will call this the Great Migration. So once upon a time, they say there was all these ice sheets. So man was just around one place, and then the water levels was low. So man started migrating out of where they all started off. They say they started migrating out of the Middle East, and they started walking across these things called a land bridge. So they say there was land bridges, and they walked across these land bridges and set up life in the places where they went with their family, and they followed where the food went. Apparently, they say they followed where all the animals went, and then they say that's how they migrated over the earth. So that's their explanation for the migration. But we know the migration is because of the Tower of Babel. That's what we know. We know the migration is because of the Tower of Babel, where the Lord confused their speech and they couldn't understand each other, and every man branched off and started to go live amongst who he could understand at the time. So they branched off into their families and so forth. So that's how we understand the migrated. But these archaeologists and anthropologists, obviously they're not looking at it from a biblical point of view. So they're speculating why they migrated. In their speculation, they've came up with, oh, maybe they followed the food. Maybe they walked across the land bridge. Maybe they all couldn't dwell in one place. So they say that was the cause of the migration. But we know the cause of the migration was the Tower of Babel. So that's why they migrated. That's lucky. Go ahead.
Got one count, sir. But everywhere they went, sapiens too continued to live by gathering wild plants and hunting wild animals.
So that's what they would live, do the hunt, wild animals and plants. Go ahead.
Why do anything else when your lifestyle feeds you amply and supports a rich world of social structures, religious beliefs, and political dynamics? All this changed about 10,000 years ago, when sapiens began to devote almost all their time and effort to manipulating the lives of a few animal and plant species.
So now they said all this changed when sapiens began to devote almost all their time and effort to manipulating the lives of a few animals and plant species. So now before this was eating whatever they wanted, and over time they developed a strategy. Go ahead.
From sunrise to sunset, humans sowed seeds, watered plants, plucked weeds from the ground, and led sheep to prime pastures.
So read that part one more time.
From sunrise to sunset, humans sowed...
Hold on, wait a minute. Let me see if we need this one. Hold on. Oh, yes, Lucky, go ahead.
Canada one count, sir. From sunrise to sunset, humans sowed seeds, watered plants, plucked weeds from the ground, and led sheep to prime pastures.
Over time, man was able to do what? Domesticate sheep, because before that, they was called wild sheep, and the man, over time, was able to tame those things. So this is what they're saying in the beginning. Then they're saying that was able to plant certain seeds, sow seeds and whatnot. Go ahead.
This work, they thought, would provide them with more fruit, grain, and meat. It was a revolution in the way humans lived. The agricultural revolution. The transition to agriculture began around 9,500 to 8,500 BC in the hill country of southern eastern Turkey, western Iran, and the Levant.
So now to let you know that all of this was around the Levant. Go ahead.
It began slowly and in a restricted geographical area.
So now they're letting you know all of this began in the Middle East. Go ahead.
Wheat and goats were domesticated by approximately 9000 BC.
So these things was domesticated approximately by 9,000. Sloppy, go ahead.
Scholars once proclaimed that the agricultural revolution was a great leap forward for humanity. They told a tale of progress fueled by human brain power. Evolution gradually...
So now this is the beginning of what they call evolution. This is the beginning of what they call evolution. Sloppy, go ahead.
Evolution gradually produced ever more intelligent people. Eventually, people were so smart that they were able to decipher nature's secret.
So this people became so smart, was able to decipher nature's secrets. Go ahead.
Enabling them to tame sheep and cultivate wheat. As soon as this happened, they cheerfully abandoned the grueling danger.
So now they're letting you know what man was able to do. But Benjamin, get me Genesis chapter 4.
Can't know, cancer.
Go ahead, let me hear it.
Genesis chapter 4, verse 1. And Adam knew Eve his wife, and
Actually,
she
hold that, but go back to the slide. Give me the eventually people were so smart.
Eventually, people were so smart that they were able to decipher nature's secrets, enabling them to tame sheep and cultivate wheat.
All right, now get me Genesis 4 and verse 2.
Can't know, cancer.
So now this is early civilization. So in early civilization, it's letting you know what the people evolved and was able to do. Now give me Genesis 4 and 2. And then go back to that part of the slide again, but go ahead.
Can't know, cancer. Genesis 4 verse 2. And she again bare his brother Abel, and Abel was a keeper of sheep. But Cain was a tiller of the ground.
Now go back to the slide that we just read. Read that part again.
Evolution gradually produced ever more intelligent people. Eventually, people were so smart that they were able to decipher nature's secret, enabling them to
decipher nature's secret. Go ahead.
Enabling them to tame sheep and cultivate tame sheep.
Imagine the two jobs Cain and Abel did in the Bible is what people's doing in the beginning of evolution. The one now when it says was able to tame sheep, who was able to tame sheep in the Bible? Go ahead, Benjamin.
Salaki, sir.
Who was able to tame sheep in the Bible?
It says Abel was a keeper of sheep, but
so that's Abel. Now it says to cultivate wheat. Who would cultivate things? Cain.
Come, sir.
Now, if you wanted to, so now it's kind of crazy how when you look at evolution, it agrees with the Bible. The Bible is letting you imagine this. The Bible let you know about what was going on in the beginning, and the same jobs that they started off with intelligence in evolution is the same jobs that they had in the Bible, man. The same jobs. Now read that part one more time.
Cut on, cancer. Evolution gradually produced ever more intelligent people. Eventually, people were so smart that they were able to decipher nature's secrets, enabling them to tame sheep and cultivate wheat.
Now, to tame sheep is like a shepherd, which Abel would do, and to cultivate wheat is a man that's into agriculture, which Cain would do. So you mean to tell me, in evolution, the two main jobs line up with what the Bible says? The same thing the Bible's saying is the same thing that they're saying right here, man. Cultivating wheat and taming sheep. It's the same roles that they had in the Bible, man. Now, one was a farmer. They call it, I think they call it agrarian. So one lived the agrarian life, and one lived a pastoral shepherd's life. So there's two different lifestyles living. One was agrarian, one was pastoral. So one lived the life of a shepherd, one lived the life of a farmer. So read that part again in the scripture one more time.
Canada and Counsel, Genesis chapter 4, verse 2. And she again bare his brother Abel, and Abel was a keeper of sheep.
There you go. Abel was a keeper of sheep. Go ahead.
But Cain was a tiller of the ground.
Cain was a tiller of the ground. And a tiller of the ground is a man that... Read that part in the slide one more time.
Enabling them to tame sheep and cultivate wheat.
Abel was able to tame sheep, man. Go ahead.
And cultivate wheat.
Cultivate wheat is a tiller of the ground, man. So the same roles that Cain and Abel was doing, they acknowledged that these is roles that man started to do in evolution. They said before that people was like gatherer hunters, and that's what people was doing before they knew any law. They was just eating whatever they could find, living anyhow. And evolution, they understand that people was living anyhow until one day man became smart. Now, why did man become smart? Why? Because the Lord gave his spirit to Adam, and that's when man became smart. Before that, man was foraging, eating whatever they wanted, doing whatever they wanted. And the Lord gave his spirit to Adam, and that's when man became smart. But in history and archaeology, they're not going to tell you that's the reason why man became smart. They're never going to say that. They're not going to say that because why? They're not looking at it from a Bible view. They're looking at it from okay, how did this happen? What jobs did they do in the beginning? And they're finding out. If they understood the Bible, they would understand a lot of these things that they're discovering. Once you can understand the Bible, you realize a lot of it is in the Bible. But that's lucky. Go ahead.
Come, sir. As soon as this happened, they cheerfully abandoned the grueling, dangerous, and often Spartan life.
They learned this trade of farming and being shepherds. They abandoned the dangerous, go ahead,
and often Spartan life of hunter-gatherers, settling down to enjoy the pleasant, satiated life of farmers.
So they settled down to enjoy the satiated life of a farmer. So they realized, all that foraging was doing was foolishness. So they learned to farm now. First was hunter-gatherers, then they learned to farm. But it's lucky, go ahead.
Sir. That tale is a fantasy. There is no evidence that people became more intelligent with time. Foragers knew the secrets of nature long before the agricultural revolution.
So to say, but the line, but go ahead.
Since their survival depended on an intimate knowledge of the animals they hunted and the plants they gathered, rather than heralding a new era of easy living. The agricultural revolution left farmers with lives generally more difficult and less satisfying than those of foragers.
So now they say farming was harder than foraging. Go ahead.
Hunter-gatherers spent their time in the more stimulating and varied ways.
So now they say the hunter-gatherers had more fun and had an easier life. Go ahead.
And were less in danger of starvation and disease.
And they said the farmers had more chance of starvation and disease. Go ahead.
The agricultural revolution certainly enlarged the sum total of food at the disposal of humankind. But the extra food did not translate into a better diet or more leisure.
So now they're saying that, this job wasn't easy. Go ahead.
Rather, it translated into population explosions and pampered elites. The average farmer worked harder than the average forager and got a worse diet in return. The agricultural revolution was history's biggest fraud.
They're saying it's fraud because why it's difficult. Hold that, but get me Genesis chapter 3 and verse 17.
Makes sense, so I might not choose meat to get meat now. I'm gonna wait for ages, man.
Sir.
So hold that, but yeah, go ahead.
Genesis chapter 3 verse 17.
So now I'm going to show you why farming was so hard. evolution don't know why it's hard. I'm gonna show you why it's hard. Go ahead.
And unto Adam he said, because thou hast hearkened unto the voice of thy wife, and hast eaten of the tree of which I commanded thee, saying, thou shalt not eat of it. Cursed is the ground for thy sake.
There you go. So that's why farming's so hard, man. Imagine this evolution. They don't know why farming's so hard. We know why farming's hard. Why? Because we understand the Bible. Because what was Adam's job? Adam was basically a farmer, man. Basically.
That's right.
He was put in the garden to keep it. Go ahead.
In sorrow thou shalt eat of it all the days of thy life.
In sorrow, man. And these lot here was sorrowful, talking about, yo, farming's hard, man. It's difficult. Imagine they said agriculture's a fraud. In sorrow, man. They're in sorrow. They don't know why they're in sorrow. Go ahead.
Thorns also and thistles shall it bring forth to thee, and thou shalt eat the herb of the field. In the sweat of thy face thou shalt eat bread.
And you're gonna work that field listen, you're gonna work that field, and it's hardly gonna produce. Now take me back to the slide and read that part again, where basically saying, talking about Adam's life, man. Listen, this was in the Bible before they knew this. Go ahead.
The average farmer worked harder than the average forager.
Why is that, Benjamin? Why did the average farmer work harder than the average forager?
Because Adam listened to his wife and ate of the fruit, the forbidden tree.
And the Lord cursed the ground, man. The Lord told Adam, yo, you're going to have to work hard. You're going to work for that bread. You're going to work for that food and that reward. And them right here, these farmers here that don't believe in the Bible, was talking about how hard a farmer's life is. Why is it all of this is matching up with the Bible, man? Why is all of this matching up with the Bible? Maybe the Bible might just be true, man. That's right. That's what it is.
Right.
Maybe the Bible might just be true. Maybe most people just don't understand the Bible and know how to break it down. But what they're talking about, the Bible. Salakia, read that part one more time.
Salakia, sir.
I think I'm breaking up. Is it my side?
I think so, sir. Salakia.
Is it still breaking up, or is it too up now?
It's too up now, sir.
I'm also impressed.
The average farmer worked harder than the average forager and got
man.
a worse.
Farmer, you know why? Because the Lord cursed the ground, man. That's why they work hard. Go ahead.
And got a worse diet in return.
And got a worse diet in return, man. Go ahead.
The agricultural revolution was history's biggest fraud.
Imagine that. Something in the Bible. Imagine the historians are saying agriculture was the earth's biggest fraud. And in the Bible, the Lord cursed the ground, which shows there's some connection, man. There's some connection with what the Lord did and what they're discovering right here. Now read that from the Bible, the same thing. They call it a fraud because they're like, yo, we're farming and we're not, gaining nothing from it. The reason why you're not gaining nothing from it is because, like we said, the Lord cursed the ground. Go ahead.
Thou shalt not eat of it. Cursed is the ground for thy sake.
Cursed is the ground for thy sake. And imagine this. The Lord said, cursed is the ground. And they said agriculture is the world's biggest fraud. Why? Because they realized it's not producing. If they understood the Bible, they would know why it's not producing. So when people tell you evolution and whatnot, if they only understood the Bible, you can prove a lot of what they're saying. You can break it down from the Bible, man. You can break it down from the Bible. You can break down farming and being a shepherd from the Bible. Like Cain's life was agrarian. Abel's life was pastoral, meaning one was a shepherd, one was a farmer, one dealt with crops, one dealt with animals, grazing and so forth. Go ahead.
Sir. That's it on the scripture. I'll continue the slide.
Yeah, you can continue the slide.
Sir. Who was responsible? Neither kings, nor priests, nor merchants, The culprits were a handful of plant species,
So
including
imagine this. They are blaming the species for why a lot of things ain't producing. They're blaming the species. Listen, the Lord said in the Bible is going to curse the ground, man, and it's not going to produce. And that's exactly what happened. Go ahead.
the culprits were a handful of plant species, including wheat, rice, and potatoes. These plants domesticated Homo sapiens rather than vice versa.
Now they're saying these plants domesticated you rather than you domesticating them. Why? Because now, hold on, give me that scripture where it goes. Give me that same one in Genesis where it says Adam's going to work the ground until he dies or something along them lines.
Cut on cancer.
Genesis 3.
3 verse 19. In the sweat of thy face thou shalt eat bread. Thou shalt eat bread till thou return unto the ground. For out of it was thou taken, for dust thou art, and unto dust shalt thou return. Slakia.
Listen, man. Actually, go back a verse. Go back one verse.
Canoe cancer. And Adam, and unto Adam he, Genesis 3 verse 17, and unto Adam he said, because thou hearken unto the voice of thy wife.
Now, the reason why these farmers in evolution, what they don't understand is the ground was cursed because the Lord cursed it, man. They don't understand that. They're just thinking, yo, farming's a hard job. Farming wasn't a hard job. Farming became a hard job because the Lord cursed the ground. But they're not looking at, while it is, these historians and archaeologists, they're not looking at theology. They're not taking theology into account, meaning what people call religious studies. They ain't taking that into account. So they're just going by based off what of their surroundings and what they can find. And they found out that being a farmer was a hard job. And like we said, farming was a hard job. Why? Because the Lord cursed the ground. So you go ahead.
And has eaten of the tree of which I commanded thee, saying, thou shalt not eat of it. Cursed is the ground for thy sake. In sorrow shalt thou eat of it.
Says, cursed is the ground for thy sake, and in sorrow. And these archaeologists are talking sorrowful. Like, yo, we've been domesticated by the grain instead of us domesticating the grain, man. Yo, this ain't worth it, man. Our diet's not even good. Yo, we ain't producing nothing. They said that farmers was dying of starvation. Why is that? Because the ground was cursed, man. The ground was cursed. So, you go ahead.
Got one cancer. In sorrow shalt thou eat of it all the days of thy life.
It says, in sorrow thou shalt eat of it all the days of thy life. Go ahead.
Thorns also thistles shall it bring forth to thee.
And now you think you're going to get food, and what you're going to get is thorns and thistles. Go ahead.
And thou shalt eat the herb of the field. Eat of the herb of the field. In the sweat of thy face shalt thou eat bread.
And now you're going to have to work in order for you to eat. You're going to have to work for that food too. You're sweating, man. Listen, the sweat of your brow means, yo, you're going to sweat and you have to work. You're going to have to work for your food, man. Kind of like now. We have to work for our bread, man. We got to work for our money. We have to work. Now take me back to the slide and read that part again.
Cancer. The culprits were a handful of plants. Slakia, sir. Who was responsible? Neither kings, nor priests, nor merchants.
Now take me back up to the part where it talks about the average farmer, how hard it was.
Cancer. The average farmer worked harder than the average forager.
There you go. And the average farmer had to work hard. Why? Because of the curse of Adam. Archaeologists don't know this though. They just think farming is a hard job. Because the curse of Adam, that's all it is. If they understood the Bible and archaeology, understand this. When people talk about evolution, most of the time, if you can explain evolution properly, you can go into the Bible and show them, look, man, the Bible talks about all the stuff you're trying to say. You can tell them, look, man, the Bible talks about the Stone Age, and the Bible talks about that once they started using steel. The Bible talks about all of that. If you let them look, man, the Bible talks about agriculture, and the Bible talks about men when they first started off being shepherds. You can tell them all of those things, man. Go ahead.
Canada and cancer. And got a worse diet in return. The agricultural revolution was history's biggest fraud.
See, and they say it was history's biggest fraud. It wasn't history's biggest fraud. What it is, they just don't understand the case of Adam. Go ahead.
Sir. If I may, sir, Salakia, sir. When it says they got a worse diet in return, it could match up with in Genesis 3 verse 19 where it says, "Thorns and thistles shall it bring forth to thee."
Yeah.
So, in other words, the plant species, including wheat, rice, and potatoes, they could be like the thorns and thistles.
Yeah, exactly that, right?
That's produced, which in other words is a poor diet. So, like, yes, sir.
Yes. So exactly what they're saying in evolution is the same thing Adam was told in the Bible. So listen, man. If anyone knows anybody that believes in evolution, you let them come and sit down with me for 5 minutes, man. They're gonna be thinking they're saying a lot of things that I don't agree with them. Say, yo, that's in the Bible, man. Say, yo, that's in the Bible. I'm not saying to me, that's in the Bible, I can show you. I'm saying, well, that's in the Bible, I can show you. Where they get a bit crazy is when they start thinking people came from animals. That right there didn't happen. That's lucky, go ahead.
Sir. Who was responsible? Neither kings nor priests nor merchants. The culprits were a handful of plant species, including.
And imagine this. They understood. They was finding out who was to blame for this, and they said neither kings nor priests nor merchants. They couldn't know. They didn't know who to blame for this. And you know why they didn't know who to blame for this? Because God's the one that cursed the ground, man. So they're looking for someone to blame, and they're like, well, you can't blame the king, you can't blame the priest, you can't blame the merchants. So now they're blaming what's growing from the ground, not realizing it was God that cursed the ground. Go ahead.
Sir. Including wheat, rice, and potatoes. These plants domesticated.
This slide right here basically is saying agriculture became connected with hard labor, basically. So agriculture became connected with hard labor, and Adam in the garden had to do, outside of the garden, shall I say, had to do hard labor. That's lucky. Go ahead.
These plants domesticated Homo sapiens rather than vice versa. Think for a moment about the agricultural revolution from the viewpoint of wheat. 10,000 years ago, wheat was just a wild grass, one of many, confined to a small range in the Middle East.
Confined to where?
A small range in the Middle East.
And that's where the Garden of Eden was, man.
That's right.
It was in the Middle East, man. Where was Adam put? In the garden eastward of Eden, man. In the Middle East. Around the Fertile Crescent. You can go look at those places and we'll let you know those places is in the Middle East.
It's mad because I've researched the rivers in Genesis. This day, Tigris.
See? And around the Fertile Crescent.
That's mad, yeah.
So
the other two said, I'm not sure. How do we rename? But the Tigris and
Euphrates.
Still there.
Still by the Fertile Crescent. So now, one is most people just don't understand the Bible. Most people think, someone said the Garden of Eden's in Ethiopia. I don't get how, because the Bible says it compassed Ethiopia. So it can't be in Ethiopia. So that right. Someone said Jerusalem's in Ethiopia. I don't get how. Yeah, David is in Ethiopia. It's definitely not in Ethiopia. But Lucky, go ahead, Benjamin.
That's it on that slide, sir.
Oh no, this is a new one. Oh no, it's the same one. It's Lucky, go ahead.
Councillor. Moreover, the new agricultural tasks demanded so much time that people were forced to settle permanently next to their wheat fields. This completely changed their way of life. We did not domesticate wheat, it domesticated us.
So now they said, moreover, the new agriculture tasks demanded so much time that people were forced to settle permanently. Because if you're growing stuff, you have to stay there, man. you can't move around. If you grow stuff, you have to stay there. Go ahead.
When a strong enemy threatened an agricultural village, retreat meant giving up fields, houses, and granaries. In many cases, this doomed the fugees to starvation. Farmers, therefore, tended to stay and put farmers therefore tended to stay put and fight to the bitter end.
So now, the farmers used to stay there and fight to the bitter end. They used to stay there and fight, man, because why? People's trying to steal your crops and so forth. All of those kind of things. This right here is the life of a farmer. You have to stay there and plant whatever you planted. Let's Lucky, go ahead.
Cancer. It becomes clear that this assumption itself rests on a deeper and more embedded assumption that is virtually never questioned. And that assumption is that sedentary life itself is superior to the more attractive and non-mobile forms of subsistence. The place of the domus and the fixed residence of the civilizational narrative is so deep as to be invisible. Fish don't talk about water. It simply assumed that weary Homo sapiens couldn't wait to finally settle down permanently, could not wait to end hundreds of millennia of mobility and seasonal movement. Yet there is a massive evidence of determined resistance by mobile people everywhere to permanent settlement, even under relatively
So now we're talking about people was mobile at first, and then over time they would switch jobs and become permanent settlements. But hold that, but give me Genesis chapter 4 and verse 20.
Cancer.
So now this is talking about people mobile in the beginning that was moving around.
Genesis chapter 4 verse 20. And Ada bare Jabal. He was the father of such as dwell in tents, and of such as have cattle.
So these right here is the nomads. How are you a nomad? Why? Because you're a wanderer, and if you have cattle, why do you wander? Because your animals need to graze, man. Your animals need to graze. So if your animals need to eat and there's no grass there for them to eat, what happens? You have to move around. A man that's growing wheat and crops, he don't move around. He stays there. So go ahead. So this right here would be the life of Abel. Go ahead.
Cancer. And his brother's name was Jubal. He was the father.
Taking that to the slide, I just wanted to show that the people that was mobile would have been the ones with cattle. So the people that was mobile, you could say quote unquote, represent how Abel would have been rolling. Go ahead.
Cancer. Yet there is massive evidence of determined resistance by mobile peoples everywhere to permanent settlement, even under relatively favorable circumstances. Pastoralists and hunting and gathering populations have fought against permanent settlement.
So now it says pastoralists and hunting and gathering populations have fought against permanent settlement. And guess what? Imagine this: the agrarians and the pastoralists, they used to go to war and fight each other. Why? Because one man's cattle would eat the crops, and the people that was permanent didn't like the wanderers, so they would go to war and kill each other, kind of how Cain killed Abel. And guess what? These people was killing each other over where? Now the Bible don't say why Cain killed Abel, but in history, when they go back and they look at how the nomads and the farmers was living, the farmers would hate the wanderers, and the farmers would attack the wanderers, farmers would attack the shepherds would attack the farmers. In the Bible, Cain was a what? A farmer that attacked a shepherd. But obviously, the Bible doesn't go into why Cain killed Abel. But archaeologists have gone into things where they look at how they was living, and the two groups didn't get on. There was two separate groups that used to go to war. That's lucky. Go ahead.
That's it on the slide, sir.
No, sir.
Until the past 400 years, 1/3 of the globe was still occupied by hunter-gatherers.
So letting you know, most of them were still hunter-gatherers. Go ahead.
Shifting cultivators, pastoralists, and independent horticulturalists, while states, being essentially agrarian, were confined largely to that small portion of the globe suitable for cultivation.
But they would stay at parts which was suitable for cultivation, and it makes sense. Now, if the land's producing in a certain part, that's the part where you're going to stay. I mean, why wouldn't you stay there? Yes, go ahead.
The state has endeavored to turn ungovernable wetlands into taxable grain fields by re-engineering the landscape. The absolutely central role of wetland abundance, it merits nothing in passing, has not been ignored only in the case of Mesopotamia. Early sedentary communities near Jericho, the earliest settlements in the lower Nile, were wetland based.
So now to let you know that a lot of these lands in the beginning was wetland before these lot drained it and started planting crops there, settled there. Go ahead.
And only marginally, if at all, dependent on plant grains.
Yes, go ahead.
A last and more speculative reason for the obscurity of...
Hold on, wait a minute. Let me go back to see where it is. Oh, yeah, was here, right?
Cancer.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
A last and more speculative reason for the obscurity of wetland societies is that they were and remained environmentally resistant to centralization and control from above. They were based on what are now called common property resources, free living plants, animals, and aquatic creatures to which the entire community had access. There was no single dominant resource that could be monopolized or controlled from the center, let alone easily taxed. Subsistence in these zones was so diverse, variable, and dependent on such a multitude of tempos as to defy any simple central accounting. Unlike the early states that we will examine later, no central authority could monopolize and therefore ration access to arable land, grain, or irrigation water.
Okay, go ahead.
We have surely underestimated the degree of agility and adaptability of our prestate ancestors. This underestimate is built into the civilizational narrative that represents hunter-gatherers, shifting cultivators, and pastoralists virtually as subspecies of Homo sapiens.
So now they're talking about how life shifted. So now the hunter-gatherers would have been the wild ones where they're just eating anything. Like before Adam got the laws of God, man was eating anything. That would have been the hunter-gatherers just eating anything, doing whatever they want, sleeping with whatever they want. Then Adam got the laws of God and did what? Started dressing a garden. And then after that, what happened? Adam disobeyed God, and then farming became difficult. So that's what we've gone over so far. Farming became difficult. Obviously, yeah, what they say is evolution is lining up with what the Bible says, man. So like, you go ahead. Now the Bible talks about pastoralists and agrarians. So in the Bible, it just calls one man a keeper of sheep and one man a tiller of the ground. Tiller of the ground is a farmer. Keeper of sheep is a pastoralist. Go ahead.
Virtually a subspecies of Homo sapiens, with each marking a stage of human progress.
Well, now, they're saying in evolution, each time marks a stage of human progress, and we've gone over all of this human progress in the Bible. Why can I find all this human progress in the Bible? Because the Bible's real, man. You can't find this in the Quran. The Quran don't give you all of this. So, like, go ahead.
Yet, historical evidence shows that peoples moved fairly readily between these distinctive modes of subsistence, and in fact combined them in any number of inventive hybrids.
So now they said between those 3 rows, people moved in between those 3 rows. One being farming, one being a keeper of sheep, one being a hunter-gatherer. They said people moved in between those 3 rows. So in between those 3 rows, people moved in those 3 rows. That's lucky. Go ahead.
So, like I said, on the last slide, which wasn't highlighted, it mentioned in the Fertile Crescent and elsewhere. So it's
there you go. In the Fertile Crescent and elsewhere, and the Fertile Crescent is in the Middle East, where they imagine this. Archaeology calls it the Fertile Crescent. The Bible calls this like the land of milk and honey and whatnot, man. That's what that calls it. The Fertile Crescent calls it the land. The Bible calls it the land of milk and honey, meaning everything in you're gonna get the best from this land. This land produces the best of everything, so much that they name it, yo, this is fertile, man. Meaning, if a woman's fertile, what does that mean? She gets pregnant easily, man. This right here, this land is fertile, meaning anything you want to produce, you drop a seed in the ground, something's coming up, man. Now, there's some lands which ain't fertile. That's why everybody wants that Middle East right now, man. They know how much oil's there, how much money can be made out of it. The only people that don't want it is black people. What they want is Handsworth. But it's not fertile at all. They want Aston, it's not fertile at all. We want a dry land when everybody else wants the Fertile Crescent, man. But what do we want? Imagine this. Everybody else is fighting over oil and minerals and gold. And we're fighting over nothing. Everyone must, them people that's fighting over the Middle East must be looking at us like, damn, look at what they're fighting over. Nothing, man. We're fighting over nothing and they're fighting over Fertile Crescent. That's lucky. Go ahead.
That's it on that slide, sir. Early in the 20th century, a major exponent of a geographical perspective on history rejected any categorical distinction among hunter-gatherers.
So now they denied a distinction between the 3 white, because they were saying that people can just pick up roles whatever they want. A man that's a hunter-gatherer could, one day wake up decide wants to be a farmer. One day wake up decides to be a shepherd. So that's why they're saying they're making no distinction between them. Go ahead.
And agriculturalists emphasizing
this right here lets you know there was a distinction between the 3, because they all used to fight each other, man. Same way Cain and Abel fought. Farmers and shepherds used to fight each other back then, man. Go ahead.
Emphasizing that for safety's sake, most peoples have preferred to straddle at least 2 of these
and for safety's sake, people straddle between the 2. Why? Because they're going to war, they're killing each other, man. They're straddling between the 2. Go ahead.
2 of these subsistence niches, keeping 2 strings to their bow in case of necessity.
They will either do one or the other. They'll keep 2 strings in their bow, meaning they'll keep their options open. This is an old English word for keeping their options open. Go ahead.
We should therefore remain militantly agnostic about the basic terms that have animated the historical narratives about the rise of civilization and states. Both intellectual skepticism and recent evidence point in this direction. Most discussions of plant domestication and permanent settlement
So this is key because they said most discussions of plant domestication is where people had permanent settlements. So where they would put their crops is where they would stay. Yes, Lucky, go ahead.
For example, assume without further ado that early peoples could not wait to settle down in one spot.
And they couldn't wait to settle down in one spot, which makes sense. You don't want to keep moving around. You rather stay one place if you can. Go ahead.
Such an assumption is an unwarranted reading back from the standard discourse of agrarian states, stigmatizing mobile populations as primitive. The social will to sedentism should not be taken for granted, nor should the terms pastoral, agriculturalist, hunter, or forager, at least in their essentialist meaning, be taken for granted. They are better understood as defining a spectrum of subsistence activities, not separate peoples in the ancient Middle East.
So they're saying there wasn't separate peoples, but they had different roles or jobs. Go ahead.
Kin groups and villages might have pastoralists, hunting, and cereal growing segments as part of a unified economy. A family or village whose crops had failed might turn wholly or in part to herding.
So village whose crops failed, they might change their occupation, but how it worked is in the Bible you would do whatever job your father does. If your father's a carpenter, you're going to be a carpenter.
So when did they merge?
When did they merge?
Now, agriculture and sheep are one in the whole.
Oh yeah, so back then some of them would like when it goes there two bows in their arrow, so they would have merged from back then. So some of them would have said, you know what, let's keep our options open and do both. So from back then, some of them will merge and do both instead of
now
just
2026.
Yeah.
Even the time about Israelites was came one in it. Like they didn't catch animals that they kept them.
Yeah.
And did the farming thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
So back then everyone was separate, but then they kept killing each other, and then one man would just end up doing two jobs because why do one job when you can make money off two? So then back then they would merge together. So that's why they said they had two bows in their arrow, meaning they would keep their options open. So some of them would do a bit of everything, or this is what would happen. Once families became so great at farming and they had so much land, then you don't need your son to also be a farmer. Why not make him be a shepherd? So now you got great shepherds and great farmers. So a lot of them would try and do both. Yeah, go ahead.
Pastoralists who had lost their flocks might turn to planting.
So now, pastoralists who had lost their flocks, they might be like, yo, I've lost all these sheep. Let's plant some crops and see if that can work. So people kept switching whatever job they wanted to do. Go ahead.
It's like so prior to this, no one had their own land.
No, they would find their land. So they had land at one stage.
So I mean the grazers didn't have land.
No, they didn't have land.
The farmers had land.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So the farmers had land because
That's where our own land come from.
Yeah. So the farmers had their land because they would have their crops there, and then these like that kept moving around. They called them mobile. So they're nomads. So that's why when you're reading the Bible, it says he dwelt in tents and was a keeper of sheep. Because with a tent you can pack it up and go. So the ones that had the animals grazing, sometimes they would have their animals graze in a farmer's field, and that's a war right there.
It's a nasty life. I like the baby today, man.
Say that again.
I like the baby today. I'm not moving without.
So now you're grazing next man's land, and then shit. What happened to Abel would happen to you. That's what would happen, man. Because you let your animals graze in someone's land, and that man would turn into Cain and do to you what Cain did to Abel, man. But now did Cain kill Abel over that? Nobody knows because the Bible don't go into it. But historically, that's what they used to kill each other over. Just historically. Go ahead.
Council. Whole areas during a drought or wetter period might radically shift their subsistence strategy.
So they would change their strategy. Go ahead.
Agrarian states still harnessed unprecedented power from the sun for their crops and livestock, with 80 to 90% of people remaining farmers. But collective learning gradually made agriculture more
Wait,
efficient.
hold that, Banyamin, but get me Genesis chapter 4 and verse 17, but just hold it when you get there. And then take me back to the slide.
Sir.
Go ahead.
Genesis chapter 4 verse 17.
I should read the slide first. Read the slide.
Agrarian states still harnessed unprecedented power from the sun for their crops and livestock, with 80 to 90% of people remaining farmers.
So 80 to 90% of people remained farmers. Go ahead.
But collective learning gradually made agriculture more efficient, leading to the spread of farming across the earth and the appearance of something new.
So farming led to something new. Farming led to new things. Go ahead.
Cities, bureaucracies,
So
armies.
now hold that. Go take me to the Bible now.
Genesis chapter 4 verse 17. And Cain knew his wife, and she conceived and bare Enoch. And he builded a city.
Oh, so listen, this ties in perfectly. They said farming led to people building cities. And what was Cain's job, Benjamin?
Because he was a tiller of the ground.
No, don't tell me that. What was Cain's job? Give me farming, that's what I want. What was Cain's job?
He was a farmer, sir.
All right then. And what did Cain build?
He built a city.
All right then. And in this slide right here, it said farming led to what, Benjamin?
Sir. Led to cities, bureaucracies.
The Bible's accurate, man. Imagine the man that was a farmer in the Bible built a city, and in archaeology, they understood that farmers built cities. They didn't say the shepherds built cities. They said farmers built cities. Why did farmers build cities? Why? Because farmers used to dwell in one spot. So now, once they started farming, other men got other jobs, and that's why they was able to start using iron, start using stone, start using brick, because they had enough farmers. So they gave jobs to other men, and the other jobs was, yo, we got farms, let's build something else. And then they started building cities. Whereas the ones that were shepherds, there was no need for them to build cities, because they're on the go up and down. So the Bible lets you know the farmers built cities, and history right here is letting you know they built cities, man. It's letting you know the same thing. The same farmers in the Bible, the farmer in the Bible built a city, and then archaeology is letting you know farmers built cities. One day I need to piece all these side by side, the Bible and what the book's saying, so people can actually read it side by side and see the whole point. Go ahead.
The farmer will have land, expand, give
Yeah.
one job before you know it now.
City.
It's a whole city.
Yeah. And what was Cain's job? A farmer. Where did Cain get his wife from?
I thought Cain went out there, got to building it. I don't know why they got to building, started making houses and that. I never really get the correlation.
Nah.
You know what I mean? So
Cain was a farmer. All right, where did Cain get his wife from? So it says Cain got his wife from the land of Nod. But what you have to understand is Cain and Abel wasn't the only people on the earth. There was other people on the earth. So what will happen is a lot of Christians believe that Adam was the only man, and Cain married one of Adam's daughters. That's not what happened. There was other people on the earth. How do you know there's other people on the earth? Because Cain said to God, "Whoever findeth me shall slay me." That's what Cain said. Cain said, "Whoever finds me shall kill me," which lets you know there's other people on the earth, and one man can't build a city by himself. Why? Because he's too busy farming. So the other people would come in and help do the other stuff. So Cain got a wife of the other people that was on the earth at the time. So that's where Cain got a wife from. The Bible says what he got her from the land of Nod. From the land of Nod. So usually lands is named after people. So the land of Nod, who's Nod? The Bible don't say, but lands is usually named after people. So lucky. Go ahead, Benjamin.
Got it on concept. That's it on the scripture. And
Yeah, take me back to the slide. We're gonna go back to the scripture in a minute.
got it on concept. But collective learning gradually made agriculture more efficient, leading to the spread of farming across the earth and the appearance of something new. Cities,
Imagine this.
bureaucracies.
Of something new, cities, and that's what a farmer built in the Bible, man. Cities, And in archaeology, they said farmers built cities. Go ahead.
Armies, artisans, scribes, and rulers who did not engage in farming.
So now, they built cities, and why? Because most of these other people did not engage in farming. What does that mean? Iron, bronze, brick, soldiers. They engaged in other things, so they was able to build cities, and that's where you start to get the Stone Age and the this and the that, because all of them wasn't farmers. They started to find other avenues. Yes, Lucky, go ahead, Banyamin.
Rise of the city. By 5,500 years ago, 3,500 BC, the world population had grown from 8 million foragers at the invention of agriculture to 50 million people. That was a lot more potential innovators or collective learning. So like for collective learning. And the pace accelerated accordingly. The transition from the early agrarian era to the era of agrarian states starting 5,500 years ago is defined by 1. The appearance of large cities with a division of labor, non-farmers being supported by surplus food crops.
See? So now, because they had so much farmers, the laborers was supported by these farmers, and they was able to build the cities, man. They was able to build the cities. Go ahead.
The appearance of writing.
So now they're saying this is now they started to do things, started to write and so forth. Go ahead.
3. The beginning of secular cycles, driving the rise and fall of empires.
Go ahead.
In order to support a city where many of the inhabitants are not engaged in farming, you need to grow surplus.
There you go. So now, because everybody wasn't farming, they needed other things to do, and that's how they was able to build cities. Now give me Genesis chapter 4 and verse 21.
I don't know, I can't say. Genesis chapter 4 verse 21. And his brother's name was Jubal. He was the father of all such as handled the harp and the organ. And Zillah, she also bare to Balcain, an instructor of every artificer in brass and iron.
So now this is the Bronze Age and the Iron Age in the Bible, man. And it's letting you know Tubal-Cain is what a descendant of Cain, right? I'm sure Tubal-Cain is a descendant of Cain, and Cain was a farmer. Cain was a farmer, and in archaeology, this is letting us know the cities and the laborers came from the farmers. The workers came from the farmers, and Tubal-Cain was one of those that came from the farmers. So these read that part one more time. These that didn't have to farm white because they already had farmers, so they needed to build other things. Go ahead.
Council.
This right here is after Cain's son Enoch was born and whatnot. Go ahead.
And Zillah, she also bare Tubal-Cain, an instructor of every artificer in brass and iron.
Of every artificer in brass and iron. So this is where you get the Bronze Age and the Iron Age from, which most people don't know is in the Bible. Go ahead.
Council.
Who was the ones that done the Bronze Age and the Iron Age now? It lets you know the descendants of Cain, of the farmers. And in archaeology, it lets you know these things came from the farmers. It's letting you know the same thing. Go ahead.
Council. And the sister of Tubal-Cain was Naamah. And Lamech said unto his wife, unto his wives,
Actually, take me back to the slide.
Council. In order to support a city where many of the inhabitants are not engaged in farming, you need to grow surplus.
Hold on, Benjamin, are you able to look up the word surplus? So now I think it means more substance or something.
Surplus, Salakia, sir.
I know it means to need more stuff and so forth.
Canada Council, a surplus is an amount of an asset, resource, or product that exceeds what is required.
Yes. So they had enough food so they could feed the people that are building the cities. So now imagine you're a farmer, and that's how life works. A company has to have surplus to pay its employees. People are going to work for free. So what you'll find out, any company that you're working for, they got a surplus of money because that's how they're able to pay you. They're going to pay you with a minus of money because then no one can get paid. So lucky, go ahead, Benjamin.
Canada Council got to work in the Fertile Crescent around 7,000 years ago. Hardier tools made of soft metal.
Imagine this. So now, what we just read about them with the tools, the stone, the iron, the brick, whatnot, the bronze, go ahead.
Hardier tools made out of soft metal slowly replaced those of wood, stone, and bone.
See, and they're letting you know these same farmers started to increase the materials that was using. Go ahead.
Higher yield crops were selectively bred by farmers over thousands of years. Irrigation introduced water to soils that were normally dry, unlocking previously untapped nutrients for plants. Using animals to plow fields.
So now they became more advanced to start to use animals to plow fields. Before that, they was doing farming by hand, however you do it. Some of them used to stamp on the field or whatever the hell they was doing, or turn over the dirt with a shovel or whatever tools they was using. That over time they started to use animals to plow the field. Go ahead.
Using animals to plow fields cut up the soil much faster than any human could.
See, so first humans was doing it, so that's why it was a back-breaking job. And then they started to get smart and be like, hold on, we can get the animals to do it. So then they got smart, and then they was able to get the animals to do it. So they got the animals to start tearing up that field. Go ahead.
So like I said, nowadays they're using the tractors and
exactly.
those farm equipment.
Yeah, man, they use all that farming equipment. They got that big tractor that every so often they crush someone to death with it, man. Every so often they push someone to the ground with it and crush someone to death with it. That's lucky. Go ahead.
Canada Council, combined with favorable climates in the region 6,000 years ago, farming productively exploded by leaps and bounds. This surplus food allowed villages and towns to grow larger and larger.
See, and this surplus of food allowed villages and towns to grow larger and larger. Listen, man, when people tell you that Cain was the only man on this earth, that's a lie. Because even archaeologists understand that you need the surplus of food and towns will grow larger and larger. Like, why would Cain build a city for himself, by himself? It don't make no sense. The reason they was able to build a city, why? Because they had a surplus of food and they had workers there that wasn't farmers. While they was farming, these other people was building the city. Go ahead.
In Sumer, the town of Eridu grew from a farming village to a city of 10,000 people by 5,500 years ago. That's 3,500 BC. Between 5,500 and 5,200 years ago, a number of cities that size sprang up, but these were not as large as Uruk.
And now they tell you that the oldest city in the world is a city called Uruk. And where's that city? In the Middle East, man. Where was Cain's city? Now I'm saying that's Cain's city. No, I'm not. But some people say that one of the cities is it could be a translation for Enoch, and that's what the city was called, but they can't prove that. But it was in the Middle East where the city was. The first city is in the Middle East. Now, can anyone say it's the city that Cain built? I can't say that for sure. Maybe, who knows? Maybe archaeologists might come out with some more research in the future and might be able to say that. But what I do know is what they say is the oldest city is in the Middle East. Go ahead.
A number of cities that size sprang up, but these were not as large as Uruk to the northwest of Eridu. 15 times larger in land area, Uruk had up to 80,000 residents. This was a permanent human settlement on
So
a
now they're
scale
talking
never
about
seen before.
they're talking about 80,000 people lived in this city. So this was a big city, man. Big city. Then again, 80,000 is nothing now.
Nah, that's a good city, you know.
Not now though.
No, because in England, Manny, London, and Birmingham, the only cities in millions, everything else is thousands. The big cities, isn't it? You know, like Luton, that's big, you know. It's not in the millions.
80,000. You think that's good for a city? You know what? It might be. You know. Yeah, 80,000. Yeah, that might be good for a city, to be honest. To be fair, I don't think Birmingham's population is that big. I don't think Birmingham's in the millions, is it?
Luton's 225,000. So you got 80,000 might be low.
Yeah, it might be low now.
Smaller city.
But back then, that would have been with life expectancy. Apparently, back then, you're lucky if you make it past 5. So to say.
Population of Dudley is bigger.
Say that again.
Population of Dudley is bigger.
Yeah, that's not that big then.
231.
Damn, 231,000 people in Dudley. It's crazy, man. 80,000 sounds like a large number until
Small stuff.
but back then, that probably would have been a big city. Which lets you know the city that they built wouldn't have been that big then. Because I don't think Birmingham's that big. And we got what? In the millions. I don't think it's that big. But Lucky, go ahead, Ben, young man.
Canada on count, sir. This was a permanent human settlement on a scale never seen before.
And this was a permanent human settlement on a scale never seen before. So they say the earliest city in the world had up to 8,000 people. Go ahead.
With growing collective learning came more crops, which supported.
They're learning things over time. So over time they're learning. Now they got more crops. Go ahead.
Salakia, learning came more crops, which supported increased societal complexity.
So now
Europe
increased how much people could live there because they got more crops, more food, more surplus. So now they can give people jobs like, all right, then go eat this bronze, you go burn this iron, you go do this, you go do that. And then the more things you add to the city means the bigger city you can get. Go ahead.
Europe had a very pronounced division of labor.
See, you have division of labor, meaning they divided up that work. Go ahead.
Where non-farmers were fed by an increasingly efficient agrarian surplus. The city was ruled by a caste of priests,
so now
headed by a priest king.
By a caste of priests. So now in the early stages, the city was ruled by a caste of priests. So all over the earth, people's always, had some type of religion or belief, believe something. It's only the oppressor that believes in nothing. Everybody else, even if they believed in idols, they believed in something. It's only the oppressor that believes in nothing at all. Go ahead.
Under them were scribes who handled the complex logistics of the city.
So now they're setting up the city properly now. Now there's scribes under them who handled the complex logistics of the city. So now they're putting things in place. So first they started off as farmers, got enough crops, built a city. Now they're adding structure to the cities. Now the cities run a certain way with a certain structure. Now they're putting people in the city to run the city in a certain way. Go ahead.
Palaces and temples were built by a large artisanal.
So now start to build palaces and temples, places of like where they would go worship and whatnot. Go ahead.
And labor force numbering in the thousands.
Now they got labor forces numbering in the thousands. Now they got soldiers also. Lucky, go ahead.
Soldiers maintained law and order and manned the city
So
walls.
now they had soldiers that maintained law and order and manned the city walls. Why did they have city walls? I'm gonna tell you why they had city walls. Because people would try and breach your walls and graze their sheep and steal. So now when you got a city, you need gates to that city to make sure whoever's coming in, you can control who's coming in and who's coming out. So they started to set up soldiers over them cities from way back then. Go ahead.
The city had Burgoyne linen and wool industry, many wealthy merchants and
So now
slaves.
you had linen and wool. So now you're seeing from farming they started to set up all these things. Now merchants started coming in with linen and wool and so forth, which lets you know everybody wasn't farming. Some people was dealing with linen and wool. Some people was farming. Some people was taking care of sheep, shepherds. Go ahead.
And slaves who coerced to perform work as household servants or laborers.
And listen, man, there was slaves back then, and laborers and whatnot. If you had no means or no income or no job, you would have to be a slave to someone. You would have to say, you know what? I ain't got no food, but I see you've got a surplus of food, man. Let me work for you so I can get some of that food. They was doing that then. Go ahead.
Outside the city, farmers would have constituted roughly 90% of the population, and the priests owned 30 to 65% of the land.
So now the priests started owning lands. Go ahead.
A good portion of farmers, too, could have been slaves.
Go ahead.
Slavery appeared almost immediately with large human settlements.
So they're letting you know slavery appeared immediately with large human settlements. And that's how it goes. Whenever there's large human settlements, some people are going to be stronger than others. Some people are going to be weaker than others. And unfortunately, the weaker ones is going to be enslaved by the stronger ones. And that's just how the cookie crumbles, man. So, Lucky, go ahead.
If there were enough crops to support a ruling class and enough crops to feed soldiers to protect them, there were enough troops to coerce people to do work against their will.
So now they had enough crops to coerce people to do work against their will. Why? Because you need some of that food, man. You need some of them crops. Go ahead.
Often there were pretexts to legitimize slavery. Some got into debt or was a criminal whose crimes were not heinous enough for execution.
Even back then, they was taking people into slavery for committing crimes. And they go, all right, some people's crimes ain't heinous enough for them to be executed. So because we're not going to execute them for the crimes that they've done, we're just going to enslave them. And they do that today. When you go to prison, they basically enslave you, man. You're sweeping the wing for £2. You're mopping the floor. You're cleaning the gym. They basically enslave you when you're in jail, man. You don't know it. This is why. You'd rather stay out of jail, man. Be a free man. Go ahead.
Can't, sir.
So I think prison don't get clean.
Say that again.
In jail don't get fresh clean.
Nah. The people that on the wing clean it. If you're a prisoner, is it like if you even when you
chefs in either.
nah. So even when you go on a prison visit, have you noticed it's prisoners serving you the food? So yeah, they get the prisoners that they think can behave. So now they're maximizing all their money because that job right there, you'd have to pay someone £13 an hour to do it. In there, you give him £2 a week, or he would just do it to come out of his cell. So a man can coerce you to work in jail just so to let you come out your cell. Same way Diesel was coerced with
jail, he was run himself, isn't it?
Yeah, self-sufficient.
No chefs.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, they just have you in there working for free. Imagine on the road you wouldn't work for £5 an hour, but in jail you work for £2 a week. Make it make sense to me. It don't make no sense to me. So Lucky, go ahead, Benjamin.
So like, yes, sir, if I could add, in many of the movies, especially in America, they always had slaves on farms, tilling the land or whatever. That the prisoners on the on farms working, and that's like free.
Yeah, but we listen in slavery. We was farming everything, man. We was doing agriculture by the sweat of our brow, literally, man. Listen, in the Caribbean, them man was sweating, cutting down that cane, man, sweating by the sweat of our brow, and for them to say we can't have no sugar. All of that for them to say no, you're not having no sugar. That's Lucky. Go ahead.
Cancer was whose crimes were not heinous for execution or was of a foreign religion or ethnicity. But in the majority of cases, slaves were enemy captives from a war.
So listen, slaves were enemy captives from a war. Because years ago, people used to go to war and used to take slaves captives. Right?
For over 5,000 years.
Oh, well, listen, when we used to go to war, listen, if we capture you, you come in a slave, man. We capture you. You come in to be a slave, man. Listen, they captured us. We've become slaves, man. It's just how it goes. It's just how life works. The stronger nation rules over the nation that ain't as strong. And what are you gonna do? There's not much you can do, man. Go ahead.
For over 5,000 years, until just a few centuries ago, slavery was the rule for all agrarian states.
See, and then slavery was the rule for all agrarian states, meaning they would enslave you and make you do a ton of farming, grow their crops. And the oppressor did that with us, man. We was basically farming. I mean, they got their land. What do you think you're doing on their land? Chilling. Nah, man. You're farming. You're farming something, man. So like you go ahead.
Sir. And abolition was the very rare exception. Warfare began. Sumerian cities needed farmland to feed their populations and keep them wealthy. Armies of thousands of troops began to form the first time in human history.
There you go. So now they started to form armies, first time in human history. Once they started getting slaves and getting land, they started realizing the more slaves we get, the greater our city could grow. So that's how it all started. The greater our city, the more slaves we have, the greater our city could grow. So then they started trying to get more crops, get more food, get more slaves. Because more slaves means what? You can have more food, you can hire more soldiers, and then you can expand your city. More slaves, you can build your city bigger. And if you've got the biggest city and the most crops, when people want grain and wheat, guess who they have to come to? They have to come to you. You can charge them extortion because you know they need it, and then your city will flourish. This is how countries set themselves up and started to flourish. Go ahead.
Europe dominated in the period 5,500 to 5,000 years ago. Thereafter, increased competition from other cities led to horrific violence.
So now, obviously, it started to rise up, and it led to great violence. And that's how you have nation against nation and so forth. All of those things. Why? Because cities rise up against one another because they're fighting over crops and grow corn and everything. Oh no, Ira said, Salaki sir, for me, where did these people get this info from? And if I may also, who are they? I've been linked to the class. All right, then. So a lot of these people are historians and archaeologists and anthropologists. So they will find bones and they will find the city and they will do some research and they will link it all back. They will find out where the bones was found. Back then they looked at farmers' bones because in the beginning farming was a backbreaking job. So they could look at the skeleton of how they had used to find them with slip discs and where it was buried. They said, all right, this is a farmer because all these bones here match the bones of a farmer. Then they would look at the other bones and say, yeah, these bones are of wanderers. Then they could look at the diet. Then they could look at the city and all of those kind of things. So it's a lot of archaeology and all of those kind of things. But with that, we open the time slot. We got to run. We got to run. We're going to switch gears next week. I've had enough. It's lucky. Probably go over this again later on in the year. Benjamin, you can call it.
Kada one call, sir. Mena visual, imagine Shabbat. Imagine Barak. Yahaba Shim Yasha Barakata.
Yahaba Shim Yasha Barakafam.
Ya Jamata. Class dismissed.
Brother again, Nakim will be here tomorrow, 7 p.m. till 9, scripture breakdown. All right, Shalom, Israel.
Shalom, sir.
Shalom, brother.
That was cold.